What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. Hopefully you're having a great day. First and foremost, I want to thank you so much for checking out my game room tour video. Game room tours are definitely outside of my comfort zone. I like to have my cameras and lights set up the way I like them. And so a game room tour, you have to move around, be a little more casual. So hopefully you enjoyed it. If you haven't checked out the video, make sure you go down in the link in the description below, click on that video, enjoy it, and share it with a friend. In today's video, I'm going to be sharing what I found for the month of January. There was a 50% off sale and it was crazy. So like I said, this 50% off sale is absolutely insane. I've been going for a few years, and this time I went with some friends of mine from Weekend Rental Podcast, Ryan and Andy, as well as a friend from the channel, Brandon, and we had a blast. The lines were absolutely insane. There were so many people, and this sale is very, very intense. If you're a retro game collector like myself, looking for those carts, NES, Super Nintendo, those kind of things, it is very tricky. So they have a kiosk in the space that is just basically a computer with their inventory. And when you find something, you have to print off a tag, then you take that tag, you have to take it to the counter, they pull the game for you, then you have to pay for it, and it's pretty crazy. It doesn't sound so bad, but in that moment where there are a ton of people and there's multiple kiosks, so there's other people printing off the tags, so there's a good chance that the person next to you is printing off the same exact tag, and so it really, you kind of have to move fast. You got to pull your tag, get your games, and then once they're in your possession and paid for, they're yours, they're nobody else's. And so that makes it really intense. And then you also don't get to check out the quality of the game. So obviously there's going to be ripped labels and some beat up carts, and so you really kind of have to fish through things. The workers are already stressed because the massive amount of people, so you feel bad turning games away because of condition. So I end up picking up things that are a little more beat up, but it is so much fun. So I was able to expand my NES collection a little bit more, as well as my Super Nintendo collection and some GameCube stuff, as well as some other things. It was so much fun. So the first game that I snagged was The Simpsons Bartman Meets Radioactive Man. I'm pretty sure this is the last Simpson game that I needed. Most of the time when I come across this game, the labels are always roached. This one's not in terrible condition. This sale is always fun, where you can really pick up some of those more uncommon titles and not have to pay a lot of money. So if something's $50, it's $25. And so I was able to pick up The Addams Family Pugsley Scavenger Hunt. This is a game that I've never seen before. It's very uncommon, and it actually is kind of pricey. I think it ranges anywhere between $50 to $75. I was able to pick it up for $20, which is pretty awesome. I also snagged Toki. This is a game that I've been wanting to add to my collection for a long time. I've only seen this game one time, and it was in terrible condition. So much where the back was completely broken open, and they were still asking for a premium, which is pretty insane. So finally able to add this Taito classic. It's such a good game. And then you guys know my collection has been expanding a little bit to some unlicensed games. I used to just push those to the side, never have them in my collection. And I have no idea what happened. Something triggered a couple years ago. And well, I started adding unlicensed carts, repros, and all of those types of games. And I've actually really enjoyed finding them. But I was able to pick up this Tengen cart, Roadrunner. Never played it, know nothing about it, but it's one I didn't have. The label isn't in the greatest condition. It has some bubbling, but again, another one to add to the collection. I also picked up SNK's Touchdown Fever. And this game is pretty nostalgic to me, not because the game is great, and I actually probably didn't play this game as a kid. I watched the TV show. This is Where in Time is Carmen Sandiego. I don't know if you guys remember, there used to be a show called Where in the World is Carmen Sandiego. I think it was on PBS, and they had an a cappella group and everything like that. I really enjoyed that TV show. So this kind of just brings back those memories. I don't think it plays very similar to the TV show, but it's a pretty common game that I didn't have in my collection. I also picked up Thundercade, and I've really been enjoying Sammy games. I've been playing Vice Project Doom quite a bit lately, and they're just really, really good. So I saw the Sammy label on this one. I had to snag it. So Thundercade. This is a Jaleco game, City Connection. I've never actually played this game. In fact, never seen it. It's not an expensive game. I think it was maybe $2 or $3. My guess is it's probably like an arcade port, maybe. I'm sure you'll correct me down in the comments below. Yeah, another game that I didn't have. This is an LJN classic. This is Spider-Man Return of the Sinister Six. And this game, I don't believe is that great. There aren't a lot of great LJN games. I've never seen this one in great condition. I think that there's something going on with the LJN glue for the labels, because the white is always spotted and it's always ripping. I've never seen a really high quality label for an LJN game. So I don't know what's going on with that. The games weren't that great, so maybe they just put cheap glue on it. Who knows? But one I didn't have. And then a strategy game. This is Genghis Khan. And then another strategy game that I was pretty excited to snag. Not that I get into strategy games, but this is Conflict. This game looks pristine. It looks like no one's ever played it. Very, very minty. But the really cool thing about this game is it came with the manual, and the manual is very crisp and clean, as well as this conflict guide map, which is just something that you don't see often. So it definitely looks pretty great. I also picked up Trog. This is one that I've been wanting to pick up for a while. Again, I've never seen these games in the wild, so it was really cool to pick them up for super cheap. And this is Bram Stoker's Dracula. Really, really good game. Tough one to find. I've seen this one other time and I passed on it. I think they were asking $40 for it. I think I paid $12 for this. And then I also picked up Monster Party. I always get this one mixed up with Monsters in My Pocket. I feel like the labels are fairly similar as well. I've never played this game. It's super cheap, so I'm kind of interested to try it out. It's a Bandai game, so it can't be that bad. And then I also picked up Formula One Built to Win F1 BTW. This is a game that is fairly uncommon, and I believe this was a later release, 1990. So I guess not too late, but in very, very good condition. And this game, I'm so excited to have in my collection. It's nothing fancy, just a lot of memories. This is Joshua, the Battle of Jericho. This is a Wisdom Tree game. I've really been getting into Wisdom Tree games. I have Bible Buffet, as well as King of Kings, and a couple others. And they're just very nostalgic to me. I'm a Christian, and I grew up in a Christian home. And so these were some of the games that we had. I believe that my church that I went to as a kid, you could rent them from the library, the church library, and I think they had a few of them, and I believe this was one of them. So definitely happy to have that. I can't remember if Sunday Funday is one or not, or if that is a Color Dream. I can't remember, but happy to have that one in my collection. And this is a Taito, the Flintstones, The Rescue of Dino and Hoppy. It's not the Surprise at Dinosaur Peak, which is a bummer, but I feel like this Flintstones game has increased in value a little bit. I think some of it has to do with the other one being so expensive that people still want the Flintstone game. And I believe this is like maybe a $20-$30 cart, or at least what I've seen. I don't remember what I paid for it. You kind of don't look at prices at this event. I also picked up Shadowgate, which I believe is a point and click. And then another LJN classic. This is TNC Thrilla Safari. Again, something with the LJN labels. They spot, or at least on the white and stuff like that. I've never seen a solid label, but one that I was really hoping to get into the collection. And then I got my first ever Advanced Dungeons and Dragons game. Not that I'd ever play it, but this is Heroes of the Lance. I still have quite a few to go. I think there's Hillsfar is probably the most uncommon one or most expensive one. But finally able to add this one to my collection. The label is crooked, which is really, really weird. But yeah, happy to have that one in my collection as well. So those were the NES games that I snagged a decent amount, which is pretty awesome. I was really hoping to expand my Sega Genesis collection, and I didn't find a lot that I was super excited about. I'm not going for a complete or anything like that, just trying to find some good games to play. The first game that I snagged was James Buster Douglas Boxing. Now, this isn't a great game. It was very, very cheap. It was less than $1. But what is really cool about this game is it's very nostalgic to me. So I picked up a Sega Genesis when I was a kid at a garage sale. I had it for a very, very short time, and this was a game that I played all the time. I believe you can create your own character, and the mechanics are terrible. It plays awful, but it was still just, you know, when you're a kid, those games kind of stand out that you just really enjoy. I also picked up Shinobi 3. I don't own any Shinobi games on the Sega Genesis. The label isn't in the greatest condition, but happy to have that one in my collection.